At this point, BitBoy Crypto should just change his channel name to Bad Boy Crypto, because this behavior, I mean, it's out there, it's wild, it's maybe crazy, and it's borderline illegal. It turns out it is possible to tweet something about your court case that's so dumb that there's just no coming back from it. Just wait until you see this madness. Now, I've already made a video about BitBoy's actions that led to a court hearing being scheduled for Thursday, April 20th. And as a subscriber to America's Attorney, you already knew that and you've watched it and you're all caught up. Now, if you're a friend of a subscriber who sent you this video, you may not have seen my first video, but you should check it out to fully understand how we got to this point right here. But I'll give you the 30-second-ish version. After the filing of a lawsuit against several YouTube crypto influencers that included Ben Armstrong, aka BitBoy Crypto, BitBoy went on a Twitter, email, phone call, etc. rampage against one of the plaintiff's lawyers in the case. This included threats to dox the attorney, to use Bitcoin to shoot his family, which I don't understand, to surround his house with protesters. I mean, these were very serious and unrelenting threats for several days. He appeared to be off the rails. Now, this led the attorney, Adam Moskowitz, to file a request for a court conference to, quote, bring awareness of defendant Armstrong's harassment towards plaintiff's counsel, aka address BitBoy's behavior with the judge, aka to tattle on him, aka to make an evidentiary record. Judge Melissa Damian granted his request in that she directed Moskowitz to notify her office when Armstrong was served with the lawsuit, even though Armstrong actually already knew about the lawsuit. He still had to be served. And she ordered Armstrong to appear in court on April 20th. Well, April 20th came and went, and the only place that we saw Ben Armstrong was on Twitter. This is more than just a social gaffe, because if you read the order setting the court appearance, it specifically says this, and I quote, accordingly, it is hereby ordered and adjudged that counsel for plaintiffs and defendant Ben Armstrong and Mr. Armstrong himself shall appear on April 20th, 2023 at 10 a.m. before the undersigned, that's the judge who wrote the document, at the C. Clyde Atkins United States Courthouse at address yada, 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 yada. It's very clearly saying that he, BitBoy, has to be there. In his stead, however, Armstrong sent his insurance company appointed lawyer, Jason Rendenow. And if any of my subscribers get this bright idea later down the road, as America's attorney, I'm telling you right now, don't do it. When a judge orders you to appear in court, you must appear in court. It's not to say that there might not be exceptions if your attorney brought evidence that you were ill or injured, or if you had some significant roadblock and you asked in writing to reschedule the court, then you likely aren't going to get in trouble for not being there. Although, with some judges, you actually could. It would depend on the severity of the allegations against you, the amount of time that you've known about court in advance of when you're supposed to be there, whether the judge has respect for your attorney, the nature and quality of the request for a new date, etc. Nothing's guaranteed, but if BitBoy really couldn't be there and his lawyer did what he could to smooth things over, they could probably get a new date for court without raising the ire of the judge. In fact, her order even gave him a 48-hour window prior to court to file papers saying that he couldn't be there and asking for an extension. But that's not even close to what happened. The hearing happened despite Armstrong's absence. Adam Moskowitz got a chance to say his piece to the judge, mainly that he feared for his personal safety and that of his family due to Ben Armstrong's behavior. A paralegal at Moskowitz's law firm also testified about an email she received that included a threat to the lawyer and his family. In response to these statements, Armstrong's lawyer stated that the threats were purely threats of litigation, not bodily harm. Only a couple of bitcoins get you and your family shot? Can't say that really sounds like a threat to sue, but to be fair, there's no proof that this email is from Ben Armstrong. But in conjunction with the rest of his electronic assault on Moskowitz and his firm, it's hard not to make assumptions. All in all, not a strong rebuttal to the plaintiff's attorney's presentation. So what did the judge decide? Well, listen to this. The court finds that plaintiff's counsel has presented sufficient evidence to demonstrate that defendant Armstrong has crossed the line from civil communications with plaintiff's counsel to harassment in connection with this matter. This harassment has occurred in the form of repetitive telephone calls to plaintiff's counsel's law firm and threats, direct or indirect, real or perceived, to plaintiffs and plaintiff's counsel's safety. What this means is that Ben Armstrong's barrage of calls and emails and tweets have legally crossed the line from free speech to illegal harassment. Due to these findings, Judge Damien ordered Ben Armstrong to appear in court at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, April 24th, meaning that she gave him just 4 days to get back from the Bahamas and get his shirt on. Failure to comply would have resulted in a warrant for his arrest. She also ordered him to stop all harassing and threatening communications to the plaintiffs of the FTX lawsuit, the plaintiff's counsel, his family, and the Moskowitz Law Group. Let's hope there's no timestamp on exactly when her order went into effect, because literally while court was happening, Armstrong was tweeting on the day of the status conference. Now, as I said before, you don't want to make a permanent record, digital, traceable to you and to you alone, that the only reason that you are not in court as ordered is because you don't care to respect the legal system. Oh. Hey, whatever you might think of the legal system, if you are in it, if you have a case in it, you have to play by its rules, even if you don't like them. The reason it's called the legal system and not the legal however you feel about it at this time is that the same rules apply to everyone. There's structure, there's decorum, and there's one other thing called the, the threat of going to jail. So basically, Ben Armstrong skated out onto the paper thinnest ice he could possibly find. And somehow, probably due in part to good lawyering by Armstrong's attorney, but also perhaps due in part to the judge wanting to give Armstrong just enough rope to hang himself, she gave him a courtroom mulligan, a total do-over. But that's not all Judge Damien did. She also reported him to the FBI for criminal harassment. Now, lots of people complain about supposedly illegal behavior all the time, and they should. Crimes are, after all, being committed every day. But when the complainant is a federal judge, we can assume that that investigation is going to get the white glove treatment. Not a joke. It's a big deal when a judge initiates a complaint to law enforcement about you. Because with the judge, it's presumptively not a he said, she said situation. So Ben Armstrong was set to appear in court yesterday at 10 a.m. and he did. Unsurprisingly, he did. It's actually kind of amazing how quickly the threat of jail can tame even the wildest YouTubers. In typical bitboy fashion, he tweeted several times about his then upcoming court appearance with gems like, "On Monday, a lot of eyes are going to be opened. Many of you are going to be owing me apologies. The reality of the situation will be revealed, and I will be unequivocally absolved of this nonsense. And also, I cannot wait for Monday. The narrative changes." Okay, now, we will absolutely be getting into what went down at yesterday's hearing, but I would love to preface that with this. BitBoy was, most likely, put in this lawsuit unjustly. I mean, there's not any tangible proof that he promoted FTX for money. And that's what he's latched onto so aggressively. What he doesn't seem to understand is, even if this is true, it doesn't give him the right to harass Adam Moskowitz the way that he apparently has. It just doesn't. So he better have something better than, they put my name in a lawsuit and I didn't do anything wrong, to give to the judge as an excuse for his behavior. If he wants justice, he will simply need to use his lawyer to win the lawsuit, using the regular rules that govern regular cases, like a regular guy, not like a chest-thumping hothead. Not that I'm saying that he is. So it's been over 24 hours since the hearing, and let's break down how it went. Now, court only lasted about 30 minutes, and he denied the allegations. And let's be honest, did any of us think he was gonna waltz up in there and confess to everything? According to Armstrong, he only threatened Moskowitz with litigation and the loss of his law license. He denied any involvement in the numerous threatening phone calls made to Moskowitz or his law firm, and he even offered to provide the court with evidence. Probably phone records or something along those lines. That's not a pun. Armstrong made the case that he simply lashed out on social media in anger and frustration over being included in the FTX lawsuit unjustly. So, what did Judge Damian think about all of this? It seems like the fact that he showed up to court when he was supposed to really helped. She will no longer be continuing with any contempt proceedings against him, and she simply reminded Armstrong to be careful what he tells his followers. The ban against mentioning Moskowitz or any of his fellow attorneys on the FTX lawsuit publicly continues. Nevertheless, the referral to the FBI has been made, or so it appears, and they will almost certainly get to the bottom of the identity of the caller or callers who are harassing, allegedly, Moskowitz. And then, of course, really big picture is that Armstrong's attorney needs to get started on the real work of the case, which is, of course, getting him dismissed from the lawsuit if, in fact, the facts will support that outcome. Speaking of Armstrong's attorney, there's a specific tweet that stood out to me from Armstrong's multiple tweets on April 20th, and I want to run it down with you. Check this out. It's weird people don't realize I have real lawyers who actually know how to practice law, unlike the ambulance chasing Adam Moskowitz. I'm not flying by the seat of my pants out here, because right about the time he was saying that on Twitter, his real lawyer was filing in court a document called a request for production of documents. Only problem is you don't do that in federal court. And basically, any lawyer who's ever been a lawyer in federal court knows this already. Like I said earlier, it appears to me that BitBoy has media liability insurance and that the insurance company has provided him with a lawyer. But maybe he's mostly used to state court. IDK. It's not a great look to file that document, and the head judge almost immediately entered an order striking the filing, which is not necessary for her to do, and it's also kind of insulting. If you're a fan of BitBoy Crypto, you need to get in his comments and DMs and tell him to stop the madness. Fight the legal fight the way it's supposed to be fought, by the rules. It seems like after Thursday's order, BitBoy has been able to keep his Twitter fingers focused on other topics, but honestly, you never know. This may not be the end of the Armstrong versus Moskowitz controversy, especially with the potential of an FBI investigation. But you've heard enough from me. Now, I want to hear your pro se opinion down below in the comments. Do you believe BitBoy Crypto when he says he wasn't the one to make the allegedly harassing phone calls or emails? And make sure in the comments you say allegedly so you don't defame him. You don't want to be on the other end of that Twitter fight. And before you go, don't forget to lawyer up by just pounding the subscribe button. Or just don't go. I've got more crypto content for you right here. Bye.